Yo, this is Mike Bland. Welcome to the Leadership Fellowship Podcast, where you got to be qualified to have a conversation. Let's go. Take it from me someday. Here we are again, back at the Leadership Fellowship Podcast, again, where you had to be qualified to have a conversation. Today, we took a different approach. A lot of things have been happening in little recent events. So the producer called me and said, man, we got to throw our content out. We've all had busy lives and things have been going crazy, rescheduling, reshuffling. But we decided to just do a little different today. So we got the producer, we're here with us, Mr. Encore Extraordinaire, one of the best guys with the camera I've ever seen in the business. So it's good to have you, my brother.
Yo, thank you for having me, man. It feels real crazy being on this side of the camera, but, I'm excited. We're going to have a good conversation. I called Mike. I'm like, yo, we got to go in, man. It's a lot going on. We living in crazy times, man. We got to talk about this.
Not only is it crazy, man, it seems like it's something every day. And as I said back in episode 1, it's easy to blame Donald Trump. It's easy to blame anybody, man. But, leadership starts at the top. And so I always say failed leadership is going to lead to failed results. But one of the things, man, is the other day an icon, a titan, a legend, all these things we throw around loosely passed away. And as I said, I think I posted this. One of the ancestors passed away. One of the legends who became an ancestor.
Most definitely.
Representative John Lewis, who has been on the front line since the civil rights era, since the 1960s. Led the march over the Edmund Pettus Bridge. As he said in multiple, I've watched film after film. It seems like my timeline was flooded from people who I didn't even think knew about politics about John Lewis. And so one of the things I kept hearing was, brother got his head, cracked open. He thought he was going to die. He got arrested for over 40 times. Led over 1,000 protests or demonstrations, man. So, and not only that, he led. They called him the conscience of the Congress. And so when I think of that, man, I think of another person, and I feel like the brother was qualified to have that conversation. But I remember the late Senator Ted Kennedy from Massachusetts, man. They called him the Lion of the Senate, because he got things done. I think whether you're Republican or Democrat, whether you believe in any ideology, man, losing John Lewis was impactful, man. Look, I was upstairs. I was having a glass of water. It was like 11:45. I'm lying. Maybe I didn't have a glass of water. I probably had something in my cup. But anyway.
I had some libation in that cup.
Right. Had some libations, just I got a little rosé. Switch it up, man. I'm trying to explore my my wine palate more these days.
A little healthier.
Yeah, a little healthier. I feel like the alcohol sometimes smacks me in the face when I try to wake up, But, I saw that, man, and I just froze. And I remember the last time I saw him. You know what I mean?
That's big, man.
I remember I saw him was at the Congressional Black
No,
Caucus.
you had to be nervous. I'd have been like this, like deer in headlights. Like.
Yo, but it's crazy because you go to CBC, the Congressional, which is like, we call it like the Wakanda Convention, man. Any black or brown political reporter, communications, any kind of icon, they're all there in D.C. for like 3 days, man. And so you're bouncing from party to party, from reception to reception. It's the who's who, right? And so, dude walks in with his entourage with a few other members of Congress. And I'm not going to lie, I think it was like 1 o'clock, man. Again, I had some libations in me. So as you can see the picture, I had like the 5th button down and shit, looking like I'll be sure and shit. And I ran over, I see the short joke, and I was like, I got to get a pic. That's John Lewis. And like, John Lewis, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Mike Bland. I'm running off, telling what I'm doing. My brother, I would love, call my office, call me directly. Man, gave me his card, wrote down his number. I'm going to tell you what poor follow-up is. I never called because I was too nervous.
That's crazy. But I understand.
Never called because I was too nervous. So one of the things I got to write down on my whiteboard is my motto for the rest of the year was follow up.
You got to take chances, man. You got to take chances. R.I.P. John Lewis, a juggernaut in the political world. But not only that, his legacy is what spoke to me when I heard about his passing. And it's motivation when you just start reading his credentials, what he did with Dr. King, and then after that, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people fell off, but he held that bloodstained banner high, and he was going hard. You know what I'm saying? He made it to 80, and he was giving people hell, but he was doing it in the name of the people. You know what I'm saying? So, but we as young people in our 20s and 30s, we need to pattern our life you know what I'm saying, behind that. And
Right.
just start thinking about, legacy, generational wealth,
Right.
how are we going to change.
Right.
It's not even about, you know what I'm saying? It's about you, but then at the same time, you need to be thinking about others at the same time. So,
well, I even think about, and let's also rest in peace to another legend, Titan, CT Vivian.
RIP.
Yeah, it just, and I'm stuck because, he said one of the things he said, it's okay to get in good trouble and encourage good trouble. Good trouble meaning it's okay to, activate your activism. It's okay to just, march and protest for something you believe in. And so instead of, and this is why I admire two eras of our history, Reconstruction, which I think where black and brown folk really became pillars. And this is why this picture's here, man. These were the first African-American United States senators and congressmen, right? So can you think about...
That's so dope. I'm going to have to get a close-up of that.
Bro, Mississippi had a United States senator that was black.
Crazy.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Think about what year was that?
This was 1872.
1870 in Mississippi,
In
running
Mississippi.
things.
Yep. And so these brothers, these brothers, could you imagine, they still had, they couldn't eat here, couldn't drink there, right? But had to represent people. So I say all this, like, you think of Reconstruction, you think of the Civil Rights era, and I think of the brothers who laid down the bloodstained banner, like you said, and John Lewis died with his hammer in the hand, and he always encouraged people to vote. And right before he died, he was really emphasizing, go vote and vote as if your life depends on it. Because just imagine you got Bloody Sunday. He was part of Bloody Sunday. And so now he's singing every goddamn thing like Bloody Sunday happening again, right? Could you imagine 1960s just saying, see, this is over, right? And one of the things I thought was so dope, people remember the I Have a Dream speech. Yo, people don't know that John Lewis spoke at that convention too, at that convening, right? And they said he was so radical, and even though he's this mellow and he was this mellow voice and conscience,
laid back now,
right? Laid back now,
but at the time he was with this.
Bro, Kennedy was scared. Like they had an FBI agent next to the speaker that was gonna play Mahalia Jackson if he got too radical, and so he dialed back. King asked him to dial back his speech a little bit. So could you imagine the I Have a Dream speech? We talk about the I Have a Dream speech, but the speech that I would like to say this generation would have more or less coalesced around would have been John Lewis, man.
We're going to have to pull that up.
And yeah, we got to pull that up.
We got to watch that just cause, like, that's crazy.
And it's the embodiment of what we need to do now, man.
But here's the dart about the whole situation. It's like, imagine being, what was he in, like his 20s?
He was his 20s, bro.
20s,
right.
going through civil rights. So that was a monster in itself. You get through that, then start your political career, and then you spend your whole life fighting for the same thing.
Your whole life.
80
years.
Your
8 decades.
whole life. And he still ain't really see he ain't really see the promised land for black people. Like he just died. That's the soldier. Like
and dude had pancreatic cancer, knew he was dying, and
still kept working.
But meanwhile, we say we tired because we face a little bit of adversity. And so, it's gonna be tough for me to get over that. And being, the national director for the Leaders of Color program, one of the things that I think I really want to, maybe I'll charter the name, and maybe I'm speaking something into existence, but our civic work called the John Lewis Civic Academy.
Absolutely.
Because this brother taught us what, not only civility was, and discipline and organization and structure, man. This brother was, he was a titan, and for me, he will be missed. And I'm scared because I'm like, well, who's next? You know what I mean? Like these trailblazers, right? You got the Al Sharptons of the world. You got the Jim Clyburns of the world. You got the, you got Clarence Avant. You got, oh my God, Maxine Waters.
Crazy. It's like in the music world, we lost Prince. You already lost Michael. So now you looking at it like, well, damn, like how many of our legends is really still walking this earth?
That's right.
And like really people really get on their flat. Like I started thinking, I'm like, yo, we got Stevie, we got, Marvin Gaye gone, Luther gone.
Right.
You got the Aretha, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Aretha gone.
Aretha gone.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Patty's still here, right?
We got Patty.
She's making pies though.
But then it's the same thing in political world. But see, it's different political world. It's like you lose somebody like John Lewis. It's like that's a big hit.
You lost. You
that's
lost
a
big
part. Blow. Like
you lost a huge part of who we are, man. You lost a huge part.
Huge soldier that you need on your squad.
And if it hasn't infused young black and brown brothers and sisters now to get involved and get in good trouble, I don't know what will.
Nothing will.
You know, because to me, I'll be blank. I'm tired of the people, raising their voice on social media, on Twitter and Facebook. You know, a lot of people try to say certain people aren't qualified to speak for us. A lot of people say, oh, who is he to speak for us? And sometimes we got to remind people, I'm going to be a little selfish right now. I ran for city council when I was 22 years old. I never stopped working. I've always, I've worked on local campaigns. I've worked on statewide campaigns. I've worked on national and regional campaigns to help get black and brown folk elected, to fight for things that are important, right? I remember fighting with Adam Snyder. You remember that, right? For PLAs, public labor agreements.
22 years old. Man.
Right? And he don't know what he's talking about. You crazy. I know that could have saved lives.
Yeah, we was doing this 10 it's what, 2020?
It's 2020, but we did this 10 years ago.
I remember I had my camera. I ain't know how to shoot.
Tenfold was tenfold 10 years ago.
Shameless plug. Shout out to Tenfold Photography, man.
but again,
yeah, I remember we was out there,
bro.
Like 6 of us.
Trying
to make a change.
And we're this close, bro. And we're this close.
Almost won.
And so I appreciate the call.
We need that every time. I feel like we need that every time somebody run. Even if you like, yo, you know what? If you feel like, yo, you know what? This guy not doing it, run. I'll be telling people to run. I'm like, yo, you never know.
Well, how about this?
Like, just yo, come on, what's up?
One of our fellows said this, and it hit me with a different stroke. She said, what we talk about? They. Who was they? They is us. Yeah. Stop waiting for somebody else. I said this before. Nobody's coming to save us, right? So
nobody.
If we can't, and we don't need a task force. We know what's wrong with we know what's going on in our communities, right? We know that there's food deserts. We know that there's not education equity. We know there's housing interests that are not in the best interest. Like there's a myriad of things that do not benefit us, but we're still waiting for them and pointing the finger, and then we're saying, oh, at the moment when somebody steps up and does something, oh, he can't speak for us because it is. Come on now, right? But you got 45 sitting in the White House, and over 30 million. I think it was 30 million people voted for him. Right? So they found some kind of promise, but it's always us, and I got to get back because I'm not gonna make this about me, but it's always us killing us, right? We life is hard enough,
and killing us don't mean necessarily kill. I'm talking killing reputation, killing, bring up something stupid. Oh, like imagine if they brought up something stupid on John Lewis or Martin or Malcolm. If you really knew, and that's another thing I heard David Banner talk about, and he was saying. What the kids don't understand about Martin and Malcolm is that they were flawed human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we look at them as gods, and they are gods, but at the same time, we have to teach that they have flaws. Everybody has a past. Maya Angelou. I was watching something on Maya Angelou, and I named my daughter after Maya Angelou. So I'm sitting there watching it, and then it started talking about her past and stuff, and I'm like, damn, Dr. Maya Angelou got a history. So imagine if somebody wrote her off when she was coming up. We would have lost a lot of things. So you know what I'm saying? It's like we always. It's almost like the crab in the barrel mentality. It's like we just sabotage ourselves so much that you probably doing it, don't even know you're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
They don't even know we're doing it, and it's like
it's like a bad habit that we got to get out of. And even if you're not feeling somebody, if they not really truly doing no harm, you know what I'm saying? And they in their space, let them rock. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's somebody truly evil, then that's different, but. If it's just little things you don't like about somebody, but if they can do something to help somebody, then let them rock. Like it's not about the messenger, it's the message. You know what I'm saying?
And so many times, exactly. And look, and I know in Rome messengers get killed too, but that's a problem because again, folks are hiding behind Facebook, folks are hiding behind Twitter. When you got a problem, pick up the phone and call somebody. I said this before when I spoke at the Juneteenth celebration. I said squash all beefs. 2 days later, I'm gonna just say it, right?
We beefing.
Half the city gonna hate me, right? Like I'm sitting here, how y'all hate? I'm only saying what y'all won't say.
We was just hand to hand.
We was just hand to we was just
Negro spiritual.
Right. We was doing the Cupid shuffle in the street and shit. And now he can't speak for us. Yeah. Hold on, I was not asked to speak for us. Yeah. Right?
I was forced, not even forced, but it's like, I have something. And then when you did speak, and we gonna drop that footage too. I'm gonna do that this week. I'm just gonna put that out there. You killed it, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how could you tell somebody that he don't You know, maybe you could feel like somebody don't represent you, but if they on the same team.
But that's the problem because I feel like people talking about, they're looking for the leaders. Look, I lead in my own way. Everybody leads in their own way, right? Whether it's behind the scenes or in front of the scenes. God's given me a gift where I could do both, right? And so not everybody wants to be out front, and that's fine. But you know what? If God has poured words in me to pour into the masses or a group of people, then
I'm talking.
I'm talking. I'm not going to hold back. And you got a problem with it, come see me. Or then when I address you and ask you to come see me, don't say, nah, I ain't got nothing to say. Don't talk behind somebody else like you're too tough, Tommy, right? And that's our problem. Let's kill the beast.
The problem is it's not about you. It's not about them. It's about the situation at hand. If we tackling a certain situation, let's do that first, and then we can handle all the other bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But see, you know what the other races do a good job of? We gonna talk about us in here, but when we walk out, I'll be goddamned if you gonna talk about us out here.
Nah, that's
right?
my brother. That's my sister.
I'll be damn right. You can call me anything.
When you get in closed doors, man, you stupid mother.
Right, and we gonna have that. Ain't nobody even gonna know, right? But now let us be able to create, because you know what? Let me just be frank. Black folk are stuck in this thing called a moment. Now we've arrived at a movement, right? And so we get mad at people that are involved in the moment, and so therefore the movement never progresses, right?
It staggers it.
Right, and so now you look at what if somebody got mad at John Lewis because, let's say, he didn't finish college or he didn't do something somebody else did. If people want to know more about John Lewis, the documentary, I seen the trailer. It's dope. Gotta go see it. It's going. I think it costs you like $3.99 and $5.99 on Prime right now. It's worth your money because I tell people
that tomorrow.
You spend $20 on the bottle, go spend $3.99 or $5.99 to get educated, right? Or if you watch Selma, he was pushing back on King, right? Getting ready to cause good trouble, right? He was SNCC. He was the leader of SNCC, right? And that's where he also met Jim Clyburn in 1960. See, this is what folks don't know. But anyway, this is the point where I'm saying we need to develop a theory of thought as a people. For us to ever do anything successful, we have to coalesce one around the ideas, activate our activism, and know that this is not the only way to progress, right? So if we come into masses at city council meetings, if we come into masses outside of Congress, I don't care about wearing a mask. What I do care about is the inequities that are happening in our school, the inequities in our housing system, the inequities in the job market, right? Affirmative action, right? All these things that were supposed to be supplanted to help us, and they're not, right? To supplement us and advance us as people. And it's so crazy that we're stuck in this thing about color, and the only thing that we should be talking about is the human race. And we're back here at the Leadership Fellowship Podcast, where, of course, you got to be qualified to have a conversation. And we like to feel we call this our emergency broadcast. The title for this is John Lewis, man. And again, we lost the icon, we lost a titan that now has become an ancestor. So we are forever indebted in the work that he did, and in some different language, and brothers and sisters, or excuse me, my brothers who will see this, alas, my brother, alas.
R.I.P. John Lewis.
So, the other thing that, is killing me now as a topic of conversation right now, because, we're still going through this thing called COVID. Some people think it's a conspiracy. Some people think it's a hoax. We have people that are involved in the healthcare profession. We have friends and families who are healthcare professionals that tell you this thing is real, right? And so, what's crazy? We're now having a conversation, so we send our kids back to school. And we're the only country that's still on the rise and not coming down. Because everybody, which I still love, right? We got the separation of our state and our federal, right? Where the feds really can't tell the states what to do, right? However, in a moment of crisis like this, you would think that common sense would come in, right? And so if the governors got together and say, hey, I need to do this in the best interest. Like, we've politicized COVID, which is crazy. We've politicized this. I got to wear a mask. You're infringing on my rights. Yeah. But it's easy for you to tell a lady that she can or she can't get an abortion. Right? Y'all want to take that back to the Supreme Court. But it's, hey, this is for the benefit of us just to wear a mask. We're not asking you to get shot. We're not asking you that you got to wear the color pink every day. Heck, we're not even saying you got to do jump rope 10 times before you go outside. We're asking you to wear a mask for protection of somebody else. And so a point that is sensitive to me, and it drives home something for me is, my wife is a teacher, right? My sister's a teacher. My aunt's a principal. My aunt's a teacher, right? My mother's the chief of staff at the Department of Education. And so here in New Jersey, so folks are talking about, should kids go back to school? And, for me, let me be frank. Hell no. Didn't y'all shut down the goddamn schools before? Right? Like, think about this. We shut down the schools March 10th.
Ain't been back since.
Ain't been back since. Had the breakout when it was at the bottom surface. It's upticking like, oh no, it's safe to go back. You know, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Morally, to even think that our kids should go back to school. You know, I don't want to send my kids back to school. They talk about distance learning, and you got the social aspect, which is important, and you got the social interaction, which is important. And a lot of kids don't like the distance learning. They feel like kids aren't going to do well at distance learning. Then you have you have the I like to call it the elephant in the room, which is crazy. That some kids don't even have Wi-Fi at home. They don't have a computer. And what do you do with them?
Might not even have a laptop or
internet
access.
Right. So now they're like, oh, we're going to pass $1 billion budget in states to give kids Wi-Fi and laptops, right?
They doing all of that when they could have put that money into the testing in the beginning.
Right? And so it's like, now we're thinking of contingency plans. And this is about the American culture, right? A lot of other countries are very proactive, right? It seems like America, because everybody's talking about, I don't want people to infringe on my rights, and I don't want the government telling me what to do, and right? The song and the dance, right? We never look out what's best for us as a people. Other countries like Spain will look out for Spain because it's good for the Spaniards, right? The French will look out for the French because it's good for the French, right? But Americans, no, I gotta have my flag.
Everybody, America means you and your own.
Right. Hello. Right.
Because it's crazy to think that a disease, like people literally die. Like we talking about what, hundreds of thousands, 200, like it's gonna be like.
I think we're up to like 140,000, over to 140,000.
140,000. I remember my birthday was March 13th, so I literally that was like probably the last weekend you could really do something.
Right, you in New York.
Yeah, but even out there was like, I was on my P's and Q's, like I really didn't leave my hotel room. You know what I'm saying? But in the beginning, I'm like, yo, you're going to have to shut the country down for at least a week.
Right.
Nobody could come outside. Like,
right.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like, yo, give people like a week. Like, yo, you got a week. Go get your stuff. For the next 2 weeks, if you're not a cop, you're not a fireman, you're not whatever, you can't come outside. Like,
right.
If you're not, you know what I'm saying? Or just shut everything down. Just let the police, you know what I'm saying? This shit would have been handled.
Yo, you put the curfew and everybody got to be in at 10 o'clock.
But then you had, this ain't that big. The Democrats is saying this. It ain't about no Democrat. Motherfuckers is dying. I know family members that got this shit almost died.
Right.
I know people that have died.
So how are we, to me, this is what drives me crazy. How are we even imagining thinking about sending our kids back to school when, this directly affects, older people, right? So you think about, and it's disproportionately affecting black and brown people. So you think about our secretaries in schools. You think about instructional assistants. You think about our school nurses. Hell, you think about some of our older teachers. You think about the people who are in central office. You think about our bus drivers, our bus aides, right? Right? You're thinking about all these quote unquote, I call them essential workers, who will be affected. And then you say, okay, the younger population, our babies, who may, let's say, K to 6 or K to 5, who can be borderline, asymptomatic. Now you're putting them in schools, and what happens what happens when they get into a classroom with a kid with a compromised immune system, right? And so I think you're taking a risk every day. You're like, oh, well, if you're 6 feet apart, you're wearing a mask, and that's just crazy.
Ain't no way in hell. And I ain't no teacher, but I can just tell you, kids ain't staying no 6 feet away.
No,
they gonna be right up on each other. Hey, yo, what up?
Laura's a preschool teacher. You think
it's impossible?
Come on. And so we worry enough about the kids getting the flu. The kids getting a common cold. When it's cold or flu season, Laura is banging down. Laura, Layla, Michaela we're all banging down our vitamins. I'm cooking with extra garlic. I'm cooking with extra red pepper, right? Cooking with extra onion, right? To boost the immune system, to get the good stuff in the body, to flush the bad stuff out, right? And so, how the hell does anybody think this is even like, think about this. Colleges are shutting down, right? But we're saying, no, let's go send, we're going to take our kid's temperature. You could take a kid's temperature who's asymptomatic, put him in a classroom with somebody who has a weakened immune system. Boom, done, right? And so, with a teacher, with an IA, with the bus driver, right? How you going to put kids 6 feet apart on buses? What, you going to start picking kids up at 5 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know. It's not going to work. I feel like in August, you're gonna see the announcement. They're going to be like, yo, we see y'all January.
Well, I think they should go back.
We're going to send your work. We're going to send you your work.
Right.
We're going to have you do it. You know what I mean? It might be, but, like a parent, like a one-on-one the type of thing every 2 weeks or every month or something. That makes more sense than like bringing every kid back, where you can like it could be just the parents, the kid, and the teacher. You know.
Well, I think we can do a lot of things, right? I think we could, this is a prime opportunity for retired educators. And listen, I wish I had the money. I wish I had the bandwidth to know retired educators who could, start an app, to help teach kids, right? To tutor kids. And so, black and brown kids.
Get them like 5 kids.
Right. Get them tight, get them buttoned up.
Yeah, you
right.
know what I mean?
And so, you're not missing too much. Or you say, we're going to kill the SAT, or we're going to kill testing, right? What are we testing for? We know our kids are going to fall behind. And so here the thing is, what if you say, I got to send my kids back to school on a staggered schedule? What are you doing to the parents I got to work? Right? Or on the flip side, devil's advocate going to say, well, I got to go to work. Who's watching my kid during the day? So it's funny because you're really caught in the catch-22, and I get it. We have the luxury currently right now. I have the luxury where I can work from home, right? My daughters.
Everybody ain't got it.
Everybody ain't got it like that. You have.
I don't even think they thinking like. I just think like the people that really run stuff, they live in a bubble. Like, they have healthcare. They
live with a corporate mindset.
And they just like, oh well, if I could do it, they can do it.
Exactly.
Or if they can't do it, it's because they're on drugs. They're not quite. Motherfucker, we working fucking 100 hours a week.
Come on, easy.
It's still not, just trying to make it. Like,
we living for Fridays in America. We living for Fridays, right? We like, oh my god, 5 o'clock.
One thing Corona showed, and I would say the rest of the world, well, black people kind of already knew it, that like most Americans don't care about America. Like,
no. They don't care.
Talk that shit. They talk
God
that
bless
American
America.
shit. But when it
salute
comes,
the flag, all that shit.
The only, I'll keep it a buck. The only time in my whole life where I felt like everybody was on the same team is when the motherfuckers threw them planes in that tower, yo. That's sure. After that, maybe like a month, for like a month, everybody was like, yo, we American, like.
Right.
Like, cause
but why does it always take a crisis to constitute us being patriots? Or to bring us together.
But after that, they went right back to the bullshit.
Right. Went back, I gotta go on my corner.
And now, like white America, black America already knew this, but white America is seeing like, like this country really divided. Like, people really don't care about other people. Like, all you have to do is wear a mask when you're in the store.
And people mad at that.
And you mad at that.
And you mad at that, but yet we got our troops who are overseas in Saudi Arabia with 70, not Saudi Arabia, Iraq.
What's the guy, the CDA? The dude coming out like, well, if you wear, first he said you don't have to wear your mask, but then he said if you wear your mask, then he said,
Dr. Ferrucci. You talking about with the CDC?
All these tips I have. Well, you don't really have to. Like, what? Why are we
what
paying you?
Right.
Like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how you gonna give us tips and then say, well, I'm not enforcing them.
You're not following them. You're not following the tips, which is crazy.
We live in crazy time, yo.
Not only do we
gotta get them all out of there.
Yeah, no, we do.
They all gotta go.
That's why. Listen, that's why we gotta do. Yeah. That's why we gotta support. Organizations like I'm gonna give my plug. Leaders of color who are recruiting, training, and running. Black and brown folks across the country. But not only that, man, we're getting folks ready for civil work. But back. Here's the other thing. This is why elections are so important, man. We really need to start to think about who we're electing to our Board of Educations, man. Who are making the decisions on a local level, right? Because everybody's like, well, who's making the decision back to school? Everybody's like, well, is the federal government? Is the governor? Is it the local? Is it this? Is it the county? Is it that? No, it's the local.
Nobody want to take credit for that.
No. Everybody want to take credit when something good.
If it's going to be like, well, we came to a decision as a group.
Right.
Because if it go wrong and all these kids start dying, people gonna be like, what the hell? Like,
so what happened when these kids get sick and then they gotta go home and they gonna get their house sick? Little Billy got COVID. He gotta go home to 6 people.
My wife's cousin is a teacher. He basically reposted something that was pretty deep. He was saying like, yo, what happens if a teacher that has like 20 students gets coronavirus? Like, they have to quarantine for 14 days. Are they paid for those 14 days?
That's right, because that's,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
because they only get so many days off.
You know what I'm saying? But they got it at work. Like, so like, how is this?
Like hazard pay almost.
They got to come up. Man, listen. I'm not mad at them for that job, but that's a hard job. But at the same time, it just makes sense to be like, yo, September not looking good. Maybe October.
It's not,
November,
because then it's gonna be flu season 2.
It's too soon. And you don't even know how it's going to react with the weather changing, too.
Right. We don't know.
What I'm saying? We don't really know. Like, you know, I feel like they don't really, I feel like nobody don't know. You know what I'm saying? Then they talk about vaccine and stuff, but I ain't messing with that.
Nah, I'm not getting no vaccine.
You getting a vaccine?
Nah, I'm not getting no vaccine.
You put nothing in me.
Listen, I haven't gotten a flu shot since I haven't gotten a flu shot since
I don't mess with flu shots.
13, I think. 13, 14
You
years
remember
old.
the H1N1?
Yep, I remember that. The swamp. Yeah.
I remember. You remember see that? That's when Twitter had just got popping. You remember that video of that girl walking like backwards or something because she took the H1N1 flu shot? Yeah, tore her up. She was walking like a crab, Lord.
Listen, and so, you know,
I was like,
they talk about the zombie apocalypse. This is how we get the zombie apocalypse.
Yo, we on our way. I don't watch The Walking Dead. I'm studied up. I'm studied up, man. Listen, yo, let's take a break and we're gonna jump back into something, man. What you think?
Let's do it, man.
All right, peace.
Here we go. Welcome back to Alicia Fellowship Podcast. We got to be qualified to have a conversation. We're back again. Got the producer here, Mr. Encore, on a.
What's good? What's good?
We like to call this our emergency session.
Yeah, we really needed this. You know, I'm usually in the back of the camera, but you know, in light of everything going on, you know, the death of an icon, John Lewis, R.I.P.
Yeah.
I felt like we just had to, you know, sit down and really chop it up.
Yeah, so you know, it's funny because the same things we talked about the same things he fought for in the 1960s are still some of the same things that we're fighting for now. You know, look, I think one of the things that are bothering me most is this jackass Kanye West, man.
Yeah, he tripping.
Yo, now I'm gonna be frank. He made some fire albums, right? Late Registration, College Dropout. Those are some of my favorite Sunday service.
He got classics.
He got some classics, right? He got some things out there. But one of the things that this guy says today is Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves. She just sent them to go work for other white people.
Craziness. You know, the first thing that made me think, because I'm a music guy, I seen it. I'm like, he got an album coming out.
Okay.
He got it. Like, if you think about his
remember his name,
his plan, like his trajectory, like with the Kardashians, the way they move is they use the media to kind of, you know, strategically they say stuff. Like he said this thing about slavery at the TMZ thing. Like he had an album coming, he had his Christian album coming out. You know what I'm saying? And now you running for president and you get up there and I think it's South Carolina. You know, you get up there talking about Harriet Tubman, like the great, and you know, like it's, to me, it's almost like I feel disrespected because I feel like he trying to play us, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you already said something stupid, then you claim you have mental health issues. We all for that. We all for black men having
mental health issues, which is real.
It's very
because we've all fought through. Look, let's do a brief pause. We've all fought through. You know, I'm gonna say I fought through depression, right? You probably fought through depression.
Hell yeah.
Right? We fought through, like, you know, mental health, like we don't know where we are in society. We don't know where we are in our marriages.
Traumatic experiences,
right?
With the cops.
Racist
experience with anybody.
With our moms, with our dads.
That's gonna mess you up.
Right? All right, so we're back to Kanye. Go ahead.
So you say the thing about slavery, then you come with the mental health issue. So people, and then you know, you saying you was going through a lot or whatever. We was like, all right. So then you gave your life to Christ supposedly. Alleged. I don't know you. You know, I feel like that was a move. I feel like that was a play because you know, the black church and the black woman, that's like the strongest. That's been the strongest thing in America since we got here. So it's like, you know. He got Kim Kardashian. He got the black woman.
Right.
I could get the black church.
Right.
So you know, we gotta stop being emotional about things and start looking at things strategically and what it means. Like now, like people shouldn't even get like people should be like, man, whatever. We got bigger fish to fry. Yeah.
Right.
I'm not gonna give you no emotional response over that.
Well.
I know the history. I know what she meant. I know what she did.
Right. And we're also not going to let him disqualify Harriet Tubman. That's what we're not about to do, right? Because there's enough people disqualify anything that anybody black or brown does. And what we're not about to do is that Kanye West, of all people, sit here and disqualify Harriet Tubman, who was a champion of our culture, who was a champion of, you know, the Underground Railroad, who was a champion in the Quaker movement, right? I remember sitting down here watching again, late night. You know, no, I did not have no live agents. Just a night I couldn't go to sleep.
Just felt like, you know, building and adding on, getting that knowledge.
Right, let me get that knowledge, right? It was a PBS documentary. We're great to watch a PBS documentary. Boring as hell, but they're very informative, right? But, you know, I think we give and I'm not even gonna say young people, man. You know, anybody that's giving Kanye West time of day, to serve as, you know, our commander in chief is a problem. Look, I know everybody's not crazy about Joe Biden. I'm a big Joe Biden fan because, you know, if a lot of folks don't know, you know, I was involved in 2012 in the Obama campaign, right, in North Carolina. Had a role in flipping a Republican county for the first time in United States history. So I was a big Joe.
Talk that.
You know, I mean, look, folks forget, right? But I ain't qualified, or Mike Blank can speak for us. Well, those are people who are hiding from the conversation. But anyway, you know, I think what bothers me the most is, and I was a Camp Biden. You know, you remember this, man. When we had Kamala and we had Corey, and it wasn't because I was against him. No, I just thought that he was. Look, I thought that the brother was qualified. Yeah, is he old? Sure, he's old. But you know what? Some of the best advice, some of the best knowledge, some of the best wisdom, some of the best direction we've gotten from
old people.
Come from old people. Come from our elders.
Old part of me. I don't want this. Not old people, seasoned people.
Sages, right? We like to call them sages in masonry. Sages, you know what I mean?
And when you got gray hair, that's that wisdom coming out of you.
Right, and you got a lot of gray hair, bro.
I had it since I was 10. You be like, you got gray. I'll be like, yo, I'm not as dumb as I look. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, and so I think for us, man, you know, they're like, well, Trump is crazy, Biden's old.
But like, yo, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Because I always try to think outside the box, and the first thing I thought, like he said it, album coming out. Got to have an album coming out. He trying to get the media. He trying to get his name in the headlines again for what? Got to be music. So then I'm like, okay, maybe he had a conversation with Trump. Yo, this is what I need you to do. I need you to run for president. I need you to get that black vote from.
Of course, he had a conversation with Trump. He's trying to take a percentage of the black vote.
So you know what I mean? On that, because you can. I mean, as I'm not as well versed in politics, but I'm like, well, maybe they trying to tag team my guy.
Look, but it's crazy because it's the most obvious thing there is, bro. It's the most obvious thing there is. Kanye, who supported him, I love him. He like a father to me, wearing that dumbass KKK, Make America Great hat, great again hat bullshit, right? Now I'm not supporting Donald Trump and Joe Biden's a wackadoo. They're trying to break into the margins of black folk. You think they really think there's enough black folk who are going to go out and support Kanye West and not support Joe Biden and the Democrats? Now look, I'll be frank, the Democrats still got work to do on our issues too. And then everybody loves to say, oh well, Lincoln was a Republican. Yeah, he was a Republican. So were these guys.
Yeah, all black.
Nobody want to have that conversation though. So were these guys.
Have to put a nice close up of that.
Right? So the Republican Party was a cross intersect, and they changed ideology almost little after Lincoln, right after Lincoln died.
Say the Democrats was down with the KKK or some shit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but again,
that was like 200. Like,
but the ideology switched.
What we talking about?
I'm talking about
2020,
bro.
So my thing is, so you got not only take away the black vote, but he has. So you got to think about the young kids that know Kanye from the Kardashians. They know Kanye for the sneakers, like the kids that just from 18 to maybe like 23, 24. That's who he influencing.
But this is the problem. This is the problem that I have with that.
If he's talking crazy about Joe Biden, in their minds, they're like,
"Oh, I believe
Joe Biden is wackadoo." Like,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, so then
maybe he's a kook.
And then that helps old boys. That helps out 45.
Nah, see, listen, 45. Listen, this is why I knew 45 was in trouble. 45 has always hovered at 42 to 44%. Right? Today there was a poll that came out. Joe Biden has, I think, 55%.
Smoking.
He beating his ass, right? I think
already.
And Trump is like 39, 38%. So he had stayed for about 3 to 4 years between 42 and 45% approval rating. Right? And people who knew they were going to support him. Now he's dropped below that threshold. Right? And they're like, oh, well, the same thing. Hillary was up on the polls. If you take the same polls with Hillary and you take the same polls with Biden at the same time, Biden is up in almost double digits at those same polls at the same time during the campaigns. Right? And so here's my thing. I'm one to believe Biden's going to put the best people around him. I believe that, right? I think that he had a further influence. I think Barack Obama helped influence part of his career, the later half of his political career, right? We all know he didn't run because his son Bo died, and it was late in that. It was late in the race, and it was,
You talking about 08?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about 12. I'm talking about 12.
Okay.
Because he dropped out the end, endorsed Barack, right? Mm-hmm. Did the trail with him, and I believe they say Hillary was the first choice, but I think it was Biden because he was a statesman, right? He had been there before. But I say what else to say about Kanye, man. It's disrespectful, and this is again, where I'm not going to commit black on black crime on a qualified African American or Latino citizen or anybody. I'm not going to do it, right? But what I am going to do is call you out on your shit, right? He's always said this shit, slavery was a choice. Really? Really? Right? And so, or he always says this most outlandish things, and people are like, well, what? Really? Right? So you're in a native, you're in a country that you don't, whatever. I'm not going to go into the nuts and bolts of
But it's like, then another thing that I hear a lot is that's just Kanye being Kanye.
That is Kanye being Kanye, but you know what?
We gotta hold our leaders and our ancestors so high that I dare you to come out of your mouth and disrespect them.
Exactly.
Like you gotta be. You gotta fit,
exactly.
You gotta fit. Like you. Like he would never say nothing about Farrakhan. You know why?
Nah, he don't want that sauce.
You know why?
Because the fruit would be on his ass. Because FOI would be on his ass.
And we the people need to be the fruit for our icons. Like you just cannot talk. You just not gonna talk crazy about Stevie Wonder in front of me, bro.
Right. You just not gonna do that.
I might hook you.
Right.
And I don't even know him.
Right.
But that music, like you know what I'm saying. You're not gonna talk about Anita. You ain't gonna come on, man.
Nah. And so I think
it's we need to but that's another condition of like to me like black on black. It's like. We so programmed that, and I feel like he programmed. It's like, he could just get on TV and say that shit. And don't even go home and sleep at night. Like that would fuck with me, bro. Like,
right, and be fine.
Even if I said it and I said some dumb shit.
Right.
Because the apology coming. The apology, first they say the dumb shit. It's a setup. They say the dumb shit. They let it ride. They let it trend on Twitter. They get popping. They let them. You turn on CNN right now, MSNBC, Fox News, they talk about it right now. They let that go. The next morning, you're going to wake up, man,
When he get that call from his PR, this ain't good. This ain't good. This sponsor want to...
What I had read some bad information. It's, you know how they be. I didn't know,
Nah, but I think, as far as that brother is, I'm not going to, because the other thing I'm tired of this whole cancel culture. We're going to get to the point where we're just going to cancel everybody, ain't nothing going to be left, right? And so, you got to, like you said about...
But it don't make sense to cancel somebody for saying something stupid. We got to we're going to educate you. We're going to go out of way to educate you. Right. And then if you don't come to the table... Exactly. Then we got a problem.
Right?
But we're going to put... When you say something like, okay, we're gonna find the top black historians... Right. We're gonna sit you in and we'll pay for them. We'll fly them to you. Right. And they'll show you all. They'll sit down with you and teach. Like you
gotta come for that time. Right.
You gotta come.
Right. You gotta come for that time. You gotta come for that time.
And you should want to come though. You know what I'm saying? And then in that the cancel culture.
But nah, he's got this. He got the biggest ego in the industry, bro. He don't give a shit about that. He got Kim Kardashian. He's sitting on a beautiful house or wherever he is. Yeah. And he just don't care.
It's almost like when you become, and a lot of black celebrities don't act like this, but a lot of them do. When you become rich and black in America, it's almost like you don't even feel like you're black no more. Like especially when you're famous. Oh, that's deep. Like that OJ Simpson syndrome.
But OJ never thought he was black.
But he was like a star athlete in high school. Then when she got to college, come on, a star athlete in college. USC, not
at any college. USC, right? Like Southern Cal,
you bigger than life.
Back in the 70s, right?
You know
he was a Reggie Bush of his era, on steroids.
My man was brutally. He was beating his wife. He would beat his wife. The cops would come. She would call like, he about to kill me. They would come. Can I get an autograph and leave? That's how big he was, and it's happened like. More than 10 times, like that's crazy. So that gotta, people start the Tiger Woods. People start. Tiger Woods. I ain't black. I'm cavalcade. Whatever I don't know what he made up.
Yeah,
but it's like, damn, it's like, but you maybe because they live in a bubble to where like they get treated differently. They feel like, but you're famous, bro. Like,
yeah, but
you don't have no brother. You don't have no brothers, sisters, cousins. Like you don't sit down with them and have a conversation with them. Like,
nah, they don't want to do that, bro. They don't want to do that. But I think what's important is we got to remember this. We have, and we talked about John Lewis. What's so important at John Lewis is that, and I'm gonna throw this plug in. If you're not registered to vote, go online and go vote. Right? Go on rockthevote.com. Go to vote.com. Go to your locals. Type in whatever state you're in. Type in. Register to vote, and then type in your state, New Jersey. Go register to vote. Give yourself the opportunity to register to go vote. Because I said this last time, and I'm just going to continue to beat this in the head. One of the things that we can do to beat systemic social injustice or the justice system is become, start to sit on juries of our peers. And so when, we know that we get different sentences from judges, if we can sit on those juries and start to sway some of those juries, that's what we need to do, right? And then we also need to vote because your kids are getting ready to go back into a different environment. And so it matters who's on your board of education. It matters who's on your city council. We live in Long Branch, New Jersey, man. They're shutting down the beach, right? But everybody's talking about coronavirus, right? Are we treating the rails? Are we treating the boardwalk? Like, what are we doing?
But look how long it took. Bro, it's like it's almost the end of July. Like, people been at the beach for 2 months.
Exactly.
But they should have been out there social distancing. But that goes into them not knowing any better. Like, not knowing all better. They know that. Bro, okay, how are we going to offset this shit? We're going to offset this shit by saying, let's collect the money, right? Remember, it costs $20 first.
It costs $20 a park.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get our money first.
Right.
We're gonna rock it till 4th of July was off the hook out here. We live in the Jersey Shore. If you don't know. 4th of July off the hook.
Off the chain. You were sitting in hour-long traffic.
People sitting right next to each other, no masks.
Nothing.
So they get the money, now they like, all right, so now they getting into the end of this, almost like, because when August, that's when we start getting into the end of the season, people start going back to school.
That's right.
But now, they ain't going back to school now, but, people start leaving, vacation season over, now it's like, all right, let's shut the beach down. Now you gonna shut it down?
Man, and I find that to be a huge problem, man. So, look, I haven't been the best person, right? But I always make sure I got a mask, right? We haven't been around a lot of people. We've been around some of the people. We feel like we know where everybody we've, remotely close to.
Been around the same people.
Been around the same people. And I see why, a lot of people starting to lose this shit. But, my biggest thing is, get informed of the issues. People ask me, well, Joe Biden doesn't support, or he had an issue with or how does he stand for black and brown folks? Go look up his Lift Every Voice plan. It's on his website. And I'm not even sitting here promoting Joe Biden. But ask yourself, what plan does Donald Trump have for African Americans? He's going to say, oh, I got the highest employment rate for black and Hispanics of all. No, look at the trend that Barack Obama created when he got us out of the worst fiscal mess since the Great Depression. And he got us out of the Great Recession, right? Where he had to stimulate the auto industry, where he had to stimulate the finance industry, where he had to stimulate the airline industry, right? Just to get him back.
He was giving out checks galore.
Giving out checks. He was giving out cell phones.
Stimmies.
Right.
My stimmy. That's the stimulus. But he was giving out some checks. He was giving out checks. He was trying to make it right. But, and then he's such a good person. He kind of helped. Like, he helped Donald. I was just having this conversation with my uncle yesterday about, like, how you transition, even like because he, I'm gonna put out there he gonna lose.
Right.
You have to like transition to the next person.
Right.
He not doing that.
Oh, Donald Trump
not
doing.
No.
He's not gonna have a word with Joe Biden.
He's not getting on Air Force One. He's gonna get on his own little whatever.
His little Trump plane. Right. No, he gonna and then that's why I think these lawsuits
he
gonna
might
crack his ass.
Because they come with them charges. Yeah,
I want to see them taxes. I want to see them taxes.
He got warrants. Yeah, let's take a break. Let's take another break, man. Come back. We're gonna wrap this up.
All right, man. Let's do it. Welcome back to the Leadership Fellowship Podcast, where you got to be qualified to have the conversation. Our closing segment. Folks have asked us to talk about this so much, and it's time for us to have a brother to brother conversation, or the brother to brother conversation about black on black crime, right? And I feel like that's often a topic that's for folks to inoculate and pivot when it comes to Black Lives Matter. But it's also a conversation we need to have, right? Why do we have so much black on black crime, right? And I feel like we can talk about two sides of the spectrum, right? There's a spectrum that says, for me, well, it goes back to some of the issues we have, right? You talk about the systemic oppression and racism in our education system, in our housing system, and our economic system, which to me is the core. And then you have the flip side and say, well, some people say, well, no, we can't use all of that, and it goes back because I feel like the fight. This goes back to Reconstruction and civil rights, right? The fight was about, I think that I'll say this, white folk and the government made the fight about equality. It wasn't about equality. Black and brown folk wanted equity. When we were freed, they said, "Oh well, all right, you're free. Go out and start your own." From what? We ain't got shit. right? Imagine being a slave. Picture this, bro.
You brought me over here.
1865, 1868, right? You a slave. You get free to buy. You're basically homeless. Where I'm going? Oh, well, you can work on my land. I'll pay you. You got it, but I'll pay you half of what you can.
I'll pay you shit.
I'll pay you shit.
And then invented laws where you don't have a job or a home, we locking you up.
Right, exactly.
So they basically turned what you call mass incarceration. It went from slavery to
13th
mass
Amendment.
incarceration.
Right. And so I think for me, when we talk about black on black crime or black on brown crime, I think it's real because you look at Chicago, you look at St. Louis, you look at Kansas City. One of my best friends is
New York off the hook.
New York off the Camden, right? One of my best friends just left, had to go to Kansas City. One of the things that bothers me is, we got to do better. And I think, we...
But not to cut you off, but here's the problem I have with that. We working on that. We've been working on that.
Okay.
Like, people say, well, black lives don't matter until they matter to black people. They matter to black people. Like, every time somebody, like, in Chicago, you can Google right now, I'm pretty sure there's multiple groups. There's a group of fathers I seen. All their kids was, like, victims of gun violence, and they protest almost, like, every 2 weeks. Like, it's people out there working on this.
But the media doesn't capture that.
They never will. Like, so when people say, like, oh, like, well, this many people got shot in Chicago, yeah, of course. Like, it's a major city. It has major issues. Right. And that was never addressed. Like, just because, and R.I.P. George Floyd, but, like, Black Lives Matter, but, oh, you killed my cousin last month.
Right.
When I see you, I'm going to kill you.
Right.
Or you shot my mama. Like, or, you know what I'm saying?
Right. You got beef with my
George
brother.
Floyd, but if I run into him, it's on.
Right.
And they ran into each other.
Right.
But the thing is, like, they go to jail. Like, people act like they don't go to jail. Like, they go, if you kill a black person and you murder them,
you go to jail.
9 times out of 10, you go to jail.
Right. But the problem
Our
on the flip
issue
side,
is when the cops, they going home.
They go home.
Paid, they still get
Breonna Taylor, my man was just out in South Beach. He was out in Florida. On vacation.
And that's another issue. Like, you feel that you violate our
that
whole
brave.
community, and you that cool that you just gonna go and relax?
Yo, I got a huge problem with that. And so, but to the bottom line is black on black crime. It's a big issue. Mm-hmm. And I will say, we got to do better. Each one teach one. As I elevate, I'm going to pick others to elevate with me. Mm-hmm. Whether you like me or not, right? If you have a trait, if you ask me for help, I'm going to give you help. I'm not the type to brag that, if a brother hasn't eaten, or if I give him my food, I'm going to brag about it, take a picture on social media, because this is what these motherfucking clowns do. Yeah. Every time they do something good, they got to tweet about it. They got to go on Facebook about it.
And I had this conversation with my wife because
Mama Hill. Shout out Mama Hill.
Shout out to Mama Hill. MamaHill.com. Shameless plug. The best vegan food in New Jersey.
Hands down.
When people do things, so especially social media, I see it a lot. Like, they'll go give something to a homeless guy, and then they'll make a video. Right. But it's like, you don't know his situation. Like, maybe he didn't want to accept that on video. Maybe you should just had a video of you, yo. It's
but why do you need a video?
Exactly. Or just put the camera on you. Yo, it's a lot of homelessness out here. I'm starting a challenge. Why don't y'all just go to the store, give out. You ain't even gotta put it up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because imagine being that person where you so destitute that you gotta take something from somebody, and they have like 100,000, 1 million followers. Now they all see, damn, that's Uncle done fell off.
Right.
He out there taking oodles and noodles from whoever, whatever.
Couple noodles and shit. Giving you half a bag of Takis and shit. Right.
Little weasel or whatever. He out there taking money. He had to take the 100 because he was broke. Right. But it's like, damn, why you putting me on your thing? Like,
why you got to put me on blast?
Your heart, you know what I'm saying? So, and then, like, me and my guy, I ain't gonna name him, but we always have discussions on black crime. And I'm like, yo, you right. It matters. Like, people are working on that.
And we have been working on it. But I think I think part of the problem is, for the longest time, I can speak on me, and other things like the core example is, a lot of times white folk will do wrong, but they'll get accepted back in their community. Like, all these things they'll do wrong, they get accepted back in our community, right? Black folk do something wrong, or they made a dumb decision in life. They're casted out as a castaway. They're never acceptable again.
The cancel culture doesn't exist in white America.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not.
Canceled at like 25.
No, right. He
was like literally bankrupting companies, bro.
Right. And like, but we love Trump.
They was still giving them chances.
Let's buy his book, right? Let's get his stakes. Let's go to his university, right? Still, bankrupting casinos. But I think for us to really identify black on black crime, I think we got to talk about socioeconomics, right? And socioeconomics is we need to be put on an equal playing field when it comes to performance, right? And I have a problem with us saying, let's send all our kids to college, and they'll have a great opportunity afterwards. Our kids are leaving college with, anywhere between 200 and 240 grand worth of debt. 150 to 240 worth of debt, and they're coming out getting $40,000 jobs, right? I thought about this most recently. I said, at URI, I played ball with a lot of great players. I said, URI is a great college. University of Rhode Island is a great college, right? Great alumni base. But why in God's green earth, are some guys not in a position, to be wealthy right now? When college was set up to be the elite, right? So I go to socioeconomics where I say, we have to give our kids a chance. And it's so crazy because I think folks will disagree with me. I think the core of crime is education. I think, I kick and scream. I say this all the time. I don't want equality. I want equity, right? I want equity. So I think when we talk about
a kid that's blessed with equity, he won't do crime.
Exactly. Right. And so that's why we need
to. He doesn't. His parents already have a plan for him to. What are you into? Okay, I'm into playing the violin. Okay, no problem. I'm into video game. I'm into designing video games. Okay, no problem.
Right.
We laid out this for you. We're gonna send you to this. We're gonna send you to this.
Correct.
Know what I'm saying?
Correct.
When you don't have things, that's when you do stupid shit. And people act like poor people don't exist in America. Just because Black Lives Matter don't mean people ain't broke.
People ain't poor,
or people in a fucked up situation. They might have, but they might be living check to check. The check stop.
Right.
It's like my kids gotta eat today. So I'm going to go do something stupid.
But there's that, and I think for me, and I said this when we talked to Fatima, I was like, universal pre-K is big for me. Black kids, Spanish kids, or poor white kids going to Big Mama house or Grandmama house, Nana house. People with money in the suburbs are going to the garden school, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're given that opportunity. And there's nothing wrong.
They're able to go work, go check on their stocks. When you don't have universal pre-K would benefit my sister first brought this up. Shout out to Sierra. She brought it up, was like, universal pre-K, and I'm like, she started breaking it down. I'm like, damn, if we would have had, me and my wife would have had universal pre-K, we might be 3 years ahead of where we at right now.
Exactly.
Because
all of us will be.
And that's why I feel like...
Because we started off in kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? We learned how to write... we learned that ABCs in kindergarten.
And then it ties into whatever. And I don't even like the term black on black crime. I just say crime. I say crime in Black America. Because it's it's not just black. It's not just black. It is black versus black. Black's killing black, but everybody kills everybody. It's a proximity issue. Everybody knows that. They always bring up the worst. And I was watching the Nick Cannon thing. We ain't gonna get into that, but
oh man,
I advise people to watch the interview and watch the whole interview and not just the little clip on him. But it's a dope interview because Professor Griff basically explains it's crazy how it's crazy. He's telling him how he got canceled. He's in the whole interview. He's explaining to him how he got canceled.
Is that Professor Griff or KRS-One?
It was Professor Griff.
Okay. So KRS-One just did it.
KRS-One was so.
I want to get KRS-One on it.
He's explaining to him how he got canceled. The whole and then Nick Cannon winds up supposedly getting canceled or whatever, apologizing, whatever the case. But all he was saying was, XYZ. But he said one thing. He says, media puts attention on the worst possible spotlight in a Black America.
Right.
So if you have a drug problem in a city, they're going to put the media on that. If you have a gun violence in Chicago, they're going to put the attention on that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you have whatever, it's lean. I remember lean. If you have a lean issue, you have a weed issue, whatever, they're going to always spotlight the worst part of Black America. Right. Because in the psyche of most white people, they probably really don't have that many Black friends. They don't know that many Black people.
Right.
So it's when... now with everything going on, it's okay, now you have to have an edge. Now it's they're looking at it as damn, I really don't, maybe I don't know that many Black. They're looking at their phone, they're okay, George Floyd, and maybe I really don't I wasn't really taught what I needed to know about Black history in
Right.
school and stuff. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Let me get educated now, but that's a privilege in itself for you to be educated later on. Like, we have to be taught, you know, at an early age, like, yo, like, if a white girl walking across the street and you behind her, like, you might want to cross the street.
That's right. That's
like,
right.
That's a black thing. That's something you got to teach your son, like, that's 6 years old, like, or something, like, but they don't have to go through shit like that. So, you know, but basically what I liked about it was he said that they spotlight the worst of Black America, and then they broadcast that out. Like, you know, the VH1s, they put the Flavor Flavs, not, that's just no pun intended, but they put that on. So then, like, China, Japan, and wherever, if they see they might see it might be a Black queen doctor. Like, she might be a psychologist.
Right.
They're gonna approach her like delicious.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Deep.
And it's real. It's fucked up. Like,
that's deep. That's deep.
And that all tie into, like, come on, man. You know, you go for an interview, they looking at you all crazy. They, you know, like, black. What I said, black on black crime. I call it what black crime
in America.
Crime in Black America.
Crime in Black.
That's
America.
a resource issue. That's an equity issue, like you were saying. It's and education, of course.
Right, and so I think, you know, how we solve black on black crime is we got to continue to give opportunities to our community. You know, we have to. I think, you know, I'm not into cancel culture, but I think we have to remind ourselves where we come from. And it sounds so status quo within the Afrocentric community or the Afro-woken community, right? But we have to really remind ourselves not only that we were kings and queens, but we were also warriors. We were inventors. We were scientists. We were biologists. We were musicians. We were these great things. We were just brain surgeons. We weren't just spectators. We were, you know, some of the best inventors the world has ever seen has come from the Black community. And so we have to remind ourselves that who we are, and we have to, you know, not only just stop asking for permission, but we have to demand more for ourselves, because we know the status quo, right? When we've grown up, we always have to say we always have to be 2 times better than the next man, right? And we knew that next man was a white man, right, or a white woman, right? And so you know, or any race, we would just taught that we had to be 2 times better. And so what does that mean? And that means when you see a brother with his pants off his ass, yo, man, come on, man, pick your pants up, bro, because you already know now they got a reason to stop you, my brother. You know what I'm saying? I ain't telling you what to do. I'm just telling you how to perform.
What do you need? Like,
right. Right, and
what can I help you with? Like,
right, and that's the other part of it is, like, we need to start asking our brothers when we know we're struggling, but we want to identify when we won't even talk to them. We would, like, bypass them right now. Yo, we'll go get a drink with them. Yeah. We'll go get a drink with them. We'll go get, you know, brothers will go get high with them. They'll go get drunk with them. Fact,
when I was you be like, yo, when I was your age, this what I like. Let me show you. I can save you like 5 years of life. Like, because when I was your age, I was doing dumb shit. And, you know what? This is what I learned. This is what I think you should do. This is what I think you should get into. Right. So you might want to look at stocks. You might want to get into, you know, this type of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, we don't do that nearly enough, man. Never. So, you know, let's wrap it up. R.I.P. John Lewis, death of an icon for sure. I'm gonna let you. I appreciate you for having me on. You know, I'm usually behind the camera.
Yeah, you behind the camera, man. But you know,
I appreciate you for letting me sit. This is like an emergency, like
an emergency
session.
We
had to do this.
We had to get it done, man. No,
but I appreciate you, man. You know, like always, shout out to Mama Hill, MamaHill.com, Tenfold Photography. That's my video.
That's right, Tenfold
photography company. Reach out to me. We do things. You know, I always talk with Mike. You know, I'm just glad this podcast happened because it teaches me stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm learning, I know y'all learning. So I'm gonna let you wrap it up.
Nah, thank you, brother. I appreciate you for sitting on me. Like you said, it's good. You know, being on the other side of the hot seat is different. But you know, I can't tell everybody enough, man. Make sure you go register to vote. You know, turn this protest into a promissory note that this country really has insufficient funds on the Black and brown culture. Yo, as always, I like to leave every episode with a motivational piece. You know, one thing that I hope we stop doing is brothers, we stop calling each other my nigga, and queens, you know, our sisters, we stop calling each other bitches and all this other stuff. Let's start approaching each other. What up, king? You know, what's up, queen? How you doing? Because we got to start prophesizing back on who we are. And start walking into the space of who we are and who we believe ourselves to be in. So, I appreciate y'all. Obviously, y'all can tell Mr. Encore was qualified to have the conversation. Looking forward to seeing you next episode. Let's go.